give him a shot to do what?
I don't know how that just happened. I'm so sorry. Welcome back to the Shot Kid Podcast. This is Mike Hughes. You are listening to the Give Us a Shot Network. So give us a shot. Hit that like, follow, subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Everybody being here. Man, I had everything prepped. I had everything ready. So if you caught the beginning of this show, I truly do apologize for the black screen. I don't know what happened. You know, it happens to the best of us. But I appreciate everybody rocking with me, man. I want to say that first and foremost. Before anything, I've had a lot going on right now in the last week and a half, from Chicago Sky and WNBA stuff to Caleb Williams and the NFL draft to a lot of stuff in my personal life. And I just want to say how grateful I am to Germ and Michael Powers and everybody at Give Us a Shot and everybody who supports the channel, whether you're listening to this on TikTok, Instagram, or wherever, you know. So I just appreciate everybody who's been rocking with me, man, because it truly does mean the world. You know, at the end of the day, man, we're coming close in on 18,000 followers, which is such a blessing for the pod as a whole. And to really just, you know, be in God's good graces and to be in a position right now to have success and to capitalize on that is everything, you know, because I think, you know, we talk about it all the time. Before we get into the show, I'm having a TED talk, so you're gonna have to deal with it. But you know, I'm a big believer in your moment. Everybody has a moment. Everybody prays to God every single night, whether you pray to God or not. In some capacity, you pray to something that something is going to happen for you. And it's not really about praying for that opportunity or wishing for that moment. It's about, are you going to be able to capitalize and be the best version of yourself when that moment does come? So, you know, we're blessed as always. We're trying to make it through. We're trying to get it through. We're rocking through the MLB season, man. It's May. The Chicago Cubs have over 20 wins on the season. They are 21-14. Woohoo! Like, come on, baby. Like, this is the first time in Cubs history we are off to a historic start without Cody Bellinger, without Justin Steele, Julian Merriweather, Seiya Suzuki, Jordan Wicks. Everybody and their mama has been injured this year. So to have the Chicago Cubs be in position right now, in the position that they are in, I'm here for it. And what better way to end the weekend than beating the Milwaukee Brewers for the first time with Craig Counsell as the manager of the Chicago Cubs in a 3-game series. The Cubs took 2 out of 3. Obviously, you know, we're very shorthanded right now. We're shorthanded, and we understand that. Shota Imanaga was the NL Rookie of the Month. I mean, absolutely a sub-1 ERA. He has been, phenomenal is an understatement. I know I always say somebody is absolutely phenomenal. It's kind of a trend here. But in all seriousness, man, like, the guy has been a phenom. The guy is a Cy Young candidate as of today. Ass man himself, Javier Assad, has been phenomenal as well. There's no question about what he's been able to be for the Chicago Cubs roster. And Justin Steele coming back sometime very soon. He's recovering right now in AAA Iowa. You know, we understand that when Justin Steele returns, it will not be Javier Assad that gets the bump. You know what I mean? It will not be Assad that goes to the bullpen or Assad that goes back to AAA. Like, there's no way. There is, I mean, and if that happens, I have to seriously question a lot of people who are in charge. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what the future holds for both Javier Assad and the Chicago Cubs, because, man, we're on a tear right now. So I am ecstatic. Let me fix my microphone really quick because it's bugging, baby. It's bugging. But yeah, man, everything's been great. Everything's been great. Nico Horner doing his thing, man. He has been great. We got a couple comments right now on TikTok and on Facebook, so we're going to try to reach all of them. He's coming back tomorrow. First start tomorrow. Justin's first start tomorrow? First start tomorrow for Steelski? Let's go, baby. Not sure who they're going to be bringing down in that moment. I haven't been able to keep up to date, but I'll keep you guys up to date. Obviously, we'll check out Twitter in the morning, see what's going on. But I'm excited nonetheless, man. I'm excited to get Steele back. I'm excited to see what the Chicago Cubs offense is going to be when they get Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki presumably back in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So less than 2 weeks until we get all the boys back. Still don't know what's going on with Jordan Wicks and his arm tightness and his elbow. We were praying it wasn't going to be Tommy John, and luckily enough, we haven't heard anything from that yet. Um, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And Tommy John is such a normal thing nowadays, but it's just definitely not something we want to happen right now. But at that same time, you have a guy like Javier Assad and Shota Imanaga and even Jameson Tyone, who's been great. So, even if that was to happen, we're not in the worst position. And even Ben Brown's been great in small sample sizes. So I'm excited nonetheless, man. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what the Chicago Cubs do. We're going to continue talking about the Cubs. We're also going to be talking about the Bears, the Bulls, and the Chicago Sky tonight. Not too much going on for the Chicago Blackhawks right now. Obviously, we got the draft coming after the Stanley Cup Finals, but we'll get to that after the lottery and everything else. But shout out Connor Bedard. I guess that's our Blackhawks talk for the night. But with the Chicago Cubs, man, there's a conversation I've kind of been ignoring or just hesitating to talk about because I don't think it's a huge problem, but something I'm questioning right now. The other day, we saw Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, and Ian Happ get their 2023 Gold Gloves. Now, Dansby Swanson got his second Gold Glove in his MLB career, but it was his first as a Chicago Cub. He was one of the best defensive shortstops in all of baseball last year. He only had 11 errors on the season. My question is, going into May, Dansby Swanson already has 4 errors on the year. I don't know if that is mentally just him getting back into the swing of things, no pun intended. I don't know if that's him getting adjusted to Michael Busch being at first base, but with that being said, last year you have Matt Mervis and Trey Mancini and Eric Hosmer for half the year. So you know what I mean? Like it's not like Michael is a downgrade. You did have Cody Bellinger towards the butt end of it, and that was Gold Glove caliber defense. But I think Michael Busch's defense has been pretty solid thus far. My big question is to why Dansby's struggling a little bit defensively. Now, it's not nothing crazy. You know what I mean? This isn't something that we're completely blowing our minds over right now that, oh my God, is something wrong with Dansby Swanson? No, not at all. But for 4 errors already on the year, there's a couple questions to why I think that is. And I would love to pick his brain to kind of get inside his mind and see what he's thinking. Because there could be definitely a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it's just, the luck of the draw. It's just bad luck. Other times it's adjusting to your first baseman and Michael Busch. And then obviously, at other times, sometimes you're just in a funk. It's April. You know what I mean? Nico Horner, who's one of the hottest hitters on the Chicago Cubs right now in the month of May, was one of the worst hitters in all of April. So, it's sometimes it's just the nature of the beast, man. But with that being said, I'm really curious to see what happens, with this up the middle defense once Cody Bellinger gets back, because Pete Crow Armstrong has been on a tear. We had a lot of questions about him going into spring training because he started his season last year in September 0 for 10. And he started his MLB career 1 for 18 on the same day, April 25th, 2024, a historic day in Chicago sports history. In Chicago history, Pete Crow Armstrong got his first MLB hit and home run at Wrigley Field against the Houston Astros, who were here for the first time since 2013, and the Chicago Bears drafted Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. It's a historic day, baby. It's a historic day, and I'm sure somewhere, Lonzo Ball's out there recovering. So let's throw the Bulls in there. Fuck it. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what the future holds for a guy like Pete Crow Armstrong, this up the middle defense, whether Cody Bellinger's in center field for the next 3 to 5 years or not. Who knows, but I do trust Pete Crow Armstrong defensively being out there. Now, offensively, I'd like to continue to see him have success. Right after he got his first hit, I mean, they just came climbing in. Right now, let's see what he's batting right now. Let's make sure we get the facts straight, because I know coming into this homestand, he was batting 290. 292, if I'm not mistaken. And at this current status, he is currently batting 242. So, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? A little drop off, but again, small sample size, hasn't had the at-bats. Today he had a hit and a walk, so you love, and a stolen base. So you love to see that. And 2 at-bats. So, it's great to see what he's been able to do. It's great to see how he's been able to get acclimated into the MLB, into Major League Baseball, not the MLB. Sorry. Sorry. I know some people don't like that. But yeah, man, I love what we're seeing from Pete. Matt Mervis, the complete opposite. It's again the second go around of him getting an MLB, getting some MLB experience at the major league level, and just not great. Optioned back to Iowa. Miles Mastrobuoni comes up for the Chicago Cubs. It's unfortunate. And Matt is one of those guys that he's a good friend of mine, and he's somebody that we've had on the podcast before. It's definitely something right now to where you definitely have to shop him. You definitely have to see what's out there for Merv. Maybe there's some rebuilding team that wants to take a shot at him, or a team that doesn't have a long-term solution at first base. Like I talked about it with my guy Lance Brozdowski at the Marquee Network. I told him during the winter, I said, hey, listen, if Shane Bieber's available, Matt Mervis and James Triantos would be a great deal. You know what I mean? Because James is blocked by Dansby and Nico. And obviously, Matt is blocked by Michael Busch. And really, Matt just is blocked because he just can't hit at the MLB level, at Major League Baseball level. But, I think it's going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's get into it, man. Our final Cubs topic before we get into the Bears. Let's talk about it, baby. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Over 30 plus games into the season, we are now going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good of this week, Christopher Morel with over 4 home runs this past week. He has found his stride. Christopher Morel was in one of the biggest slumps of his career. I had a lot of question marks really going into it about what he was going to be this season. Obviously, defensively at third base every single day, there's a lot of questions, but I'm really interested to see how he continues to climb offensively, because this is a guy who today was walked 3 times with 1 hit. I mean, it was beautiful. He only had technically 1 at bat because the other 3 was walked. He's batting 220 on the year. He's got over 7 home runs on the year. 4 in this past week alone. So we desperately need Christopher Morel's bat right now, especially being one of the biggest power bats on the offense. I think it's definitely going to be key. I still believe in my heart of hearts that he is going to be an all-star in 2024. I am not backing down on that opinion whatsoever. I think he's going to continue to stay hot, and the dingers are going to start flying in. So that is the good. Christopher Morel is back. The bad. The bad is an interesting conversation. I'm going to give the bad. Oh, unfortunately, I'm just going to give the bad to the offense. Even though we won this series against Milwaukee, even though we've been able to, climb into games and really just try to be the best versions of ourselves, I believe we've only won the last 5 of 11. So with that being said, this offense has failed to produce more than 3 runs a game in the majority of these losses. And I think that's one of the biggest issues. We can blame it on Adbert Alzolay, which we will in the next topic, which we will. Better believe it. But I think at the end of the day, man, if your offense is only producing 1 to 2 runs, there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? Your starting rotation is holding it down. Your bullpen has been beaten to death. They are been overworked and they are just exhausted. You have Heart Attack Hector and Hector Neris putting a guy on to start every single appearance he comes into. Adbert Alzolay, who couldn't spell lead if it was written on a chalkboard. And it's just one of those things right now, man. With Julian Merriweather's out, there's a lot of questions. Luke Little inconsistent, but his bullpen hasn't been great, but I'm going to give the offense as the bad. You know what I mean? You got to score runs. You got to put runners in position to have success. And that's really just what it comes down to. Now, the bad is Adbert Alzolay. Adbert, I have been trying to play the damn song for the last month and a half with you. I mean, 5 blown saves. It's fucking Cinco de Mayo. Cinco, like 5, 5, 5. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Adbert, man, I mean, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. This guy had a sub-3 ERA in 2023. He was the guy, electric. I mean, the fist pump. I mean, the guy was owning 120 starts at Wrigley Field. The guy had the city of Chicago in the palm of his hand on the north side. Period. I mean, the guy was a blast to watch last year. And to have him have this start, there's a lot of things that go into it. There's a lot of different conversations. Now, I want to throw these ones at you. I want to have a realistic conversation. To me, this was a problem before the season even started. Because Craig Counsell off rip says that Christopher Morel is going to be playing third base every single day. I loved that. But what Craig Counsell failed to do, not failed, but didn't address, was the closer role. He didn't give Adbert the closer role off rip in spring training, and that was a red flag to me. That to me showed, okay, do you not see him as an everyday closer for the next 4 to 5 years, for the foreseeable future? Because you have to remember, Adbert, failed starter. Andrew Chafin, obvious t-shirts, love it. Adbert was a starter. Coming into the bullpen last year, he didn't initially have that closing role. He doesn't have the velo that comes with that. He's not placing the ball phenomenally. He was just making plays. Honestly, he was just out there and he was just doing it, and he was, the best of the best available player for that role. And he owned up to the challenge, and I respected him so much for doing so. But is that going to translate into year two? Is that going to be a situation to where we can do that for the foreseeable future? That's one of my biggest questions right now. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to see how it goes down and what we're going to be able to do to have success moving forward. But at some point, man, I got a couple comments in here right now. Do I got my guy who commented that? Is that Dylan? Dylan, how we feeling, brother? I said we got to address the bullpen. Um, Ramsey says, get Mason Miller. There's a lot of players, Class A from the Guardians. There's a lot of guys available right now, man. And, I think regardless, you're going to have to get a closer, but I'm not so worried. And Lee is Zach Lay is one of those guys in the Cubs system right now that I love, and I definitely think he's solid. And I think he could be a prospect that comes up very soon. And I'm curious to see if they give him an opportunity. But with that being said, even if we get Mason Miller, even if we get Class A, even if we get a Aroldis Chapman, I don't care. Whoever we get, you got to figure out what's going on with Adbert. You got to figure out to why he's having these struggles, because you can't DFA him. You know what I mean? We've seen the success. So what do you do? What do you do? Do you send him to Iowa? Can you send him to Iowa? Like, I don't know. Do you give him a week off? Like, I don't know what the move is. I feel like it's kind of like Pete Crow Armstrong, from a hitting perspective. Once he gets going, he'll get going. And that's what it is. But when is that going to happen? You know what I mean? We're going into May now. And Nico Horner kind of had a similar problem, slow start to the year. We're not taking too much into account. You know what I mean? But we have to address it. The good, the bad, the ugly. The good, Christopher Morel's offense. The bad, the rest of the Cubs offense. And then the ugly, Adbert Alzolay, 5 blown saves on the year. It is only Cinco de Mayo. So obvious, and all the way, by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody who celebrates. I hope everybody had a safe and lovely week, a weekend especially. But with that being said, man, let's get into it. Da Bears. Let's talk about it. The Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are in a situation right now to where this might be the greatest rookie season by any quarterback in NFL history. Now, obviously, he's going up to par with guys like a true rookie season, like CJ Stroud. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what potentially happens. I'm excited to see how he continues to develop. There's guys like Justin Herbert who had great rookie years as well. If anybody has any other names, let me know. But I'm excited. I'm excited, man. There's a lot of potential with this. There's a lot of different conversations. We got a couple comments in here already. Have you attended Bears training camp? Yes, I have. About 2019 and 2017 and 2019, I was in Bears training camp. And I think when I was a shorty, I was in Bears training camp as well. I'm hoping to go back again this year to get a good look at Caleb's at pause, and to see what he's got going on. I'm excited for it, bro. Like this is everything. So I'm doing the claw at Wrigley Field. I thought that was sick. Already making the right business decisions going to Wrigley Field before it goes to guarantee rate. Nobody gives a fuck about the White Sox. But shout out to the White Sox for dominating the last place St. Louis Cardinals. If there's something I hate more than the Sox, it's the Cardinals. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Shout out to him. Keep doing what you're doing, boys. But don't get used to it. But yeah, I'm curious. I wanna paint this picture right now. I'm curious. I just want to ask. How many games do you think it will take Caleb Williams to throw more passing yards in a single season than Justin Fields did for the Chicago Bears? Now, Justin Fields threw over 2,500 yards in 2023. I'm curious to see how many games you guys think he's going to be able to do it in 2024. 2,562 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Do you think Caleb Williams can beat that? I think he can in his sleep. I think he does it in about, I would say about 9 I would say 9 to 11 games. I would say 9 to 11 games, especially. Also, I will give Fields his flowers. He did not finish the season fully healthy. He did miss a few games. Um, Missed about 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. So he probably would have had over 3,000. But if never mind, I'm not going to say that. If my aunt had an Adam's apple, she'd be my uncle. So that's how I'll word that one. But I'm excited, bro. I mean, Caleb Williams back into the swing of things. We're gonna continue to get better, continue to talk about him, continue to break down what his expectations for the 2024 season is. Because remember, this is a Bears team that is ready to win right now. Now, obviously, the NFC North is stacked between the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and honestly, if you're being completely real, if Justin Jefferson remains a Minnesota Viking, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, a solid offensive line, a top 10 offensive line. Defense could be better, but they have great offensive coaching, and we see how far that can take a team. If JJ McCarthy pans out, or somehow, some way, Sam Darnold has a resurgence, you might have to take the Vikings seriously as well. Especially if JJ pans out. But we know how I feel about JJ McCarthy. 10 completions in the national championship. Crazy. 0 completions in the second half against Penn State. Whatever. I digress. But I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what's going on with this team, what's going on with this organization. I think at the end of the day, they're going to be there to write their own story. This is Caleb Williams' time to shine. You talk that shit for a long time. This is one of those moments where it's like, okay, show me. Because at the end of the day, man, you can have, no pun intended, you can have all the cards in your hand. You can have all the cards locked in. But if you're not willing to put all your cards on the table, don't even get in the game, bro. That's just what it comes down to. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. I am. There aren't enough words, brother. There aren't enough words. But I think it's going to be really interesting. My big question. Now, this is one of our other topics. We're going to talk about the Bears tonight. We have 2 more. So please buckle up. What is the realistic expectations of Rome Odunze in 2024? Because there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, not even just wide receivers. I mean, you have Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift. So you have Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. And then from a wide receiver perspective, you have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen coming off of career years with a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. Will Rome Odunze have over 700 yards in his rookie year? Will he have over 5 touchdowns? That's my big question. I don't know how to evaluate how his rookie season will pan out, just because for the first time in a long time, and this is a great problem to have, the Bears have so many chefs in the kitchen. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. I'm excited to see how that looks for him moving forward. When you have so many people on one team, I think it's really interesting to see how you break that down. Now, I understand I am not in the NFL whatsoever, but my boys, Kev, Justin, everybody, we were breaking down our flag football team. We created a super team. When I tell you we went undefeated on Lakeshore Drive over the winter, we were dogging everybody from all around the city. It was beautiful. We went undefeated. Hey, 3 sacks in the championship game. How you doing? No, but man, like, you have to figure out how everybody's going to eat, how everybody's going to have success. I got my boy James on one side, Kevin on the other. My boy Mark's trying to figure out, who he's going to throw to the whole time. Now we figure it out, and even myself, I got 2 lockdown corners in Kevin and James. I'm a safety. So how am I going to eat? For me, I was, okay, bet. We're going to start running cover 0 the entire time. You start running cover 0. Hey, man, these guys are lockdown corners. I'm blitzing through the line. Boom. I'm getting sacks every single game. I feel like fucking Sean Taylor. I feel like Jamal Adams in his prime. But that's what you got to do in order to have success. You have to be willing to sacrifice. I know this is normally my role, but this is what it's going to be today. No, that was a long tangent. No one gives a fuck about my flag football team. Neither do I. But pause. I do, but not right now. But we're out the season. But it's going to be interesting to see how Rome continues to develop. Now, Shane Waldron, to a comment right here, I think is great. Shane Waldron got some fun stuff to figure out, and that is key right there. What I would take as an example, if you want to evaluate what kind of season Rome Odunze could potentially have for the Chicago Bears, compare it to Shane Waldron in Seattle just last season with Jackson Smith and Jigba. You had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, and a solid tight end core. Okay, cool. How are you going to be able to make Jackson Smith and Jigba have the best best situation possible, I should say. And it was pretty lackluster until the better half of the second half of the season. And I think it's going to be a slow start for Rome, I would imagine, unless Caleb Williams and him just have an amazing connection. Then maybe you can see guys like DJ potentially getting slided. But again, coming off of career years, it would be very unwise to go against Keenan or DJ. Now, I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, whoever wants it more. And Rome can definitely go out there and fight for a spot. Like, let's not act like just because he's a rookie, he's going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba in his rookie year. Like, don't forget, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins were there before Jamar Chase for Joe Burrow. But Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. You know what I mean? They already had that relationship prior, and Caleb has that relationship prior with Rome. Not to that same extent of winning a national championship like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase did at LSU, but definitely still a relationship nonetheless. So I'm curious to see what kind of rookie season Rome Odunze has. I think if I had to evaluate what his rookie stat line would look like today, I'm going to say 600 yards, 5 to 6 touchdowns. That's really where I'm at. I would say 40 to 50 receptions. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Long term, I think Rome is the one that we're going to be looking at as wide receiver one for the Bears. Um, but yeah, no, in your rookie year with so many chefs in the kitchen, I wouldn't say anything too crazy, especially when you got Cole and company as well. Gerald Everett, I mean, the DeAndre Swift, the list goes on. So it's a fun problem to have for Shane Waldron, though, without a doubt. But last topic of the night. Well, technically two. I guess I'll give you this one first. And we'll talk Bulls. We'll talk Bulls for a second. The Chicago Bulls are going into this offseason. There's a lot of questions going around right now. The Miami Heat have been eliminated. The LA Lakers have been eliminated. So many teams are going home. Anthony Edwards, the son of Michael Jordan, is doing his thing. We predicted it before the playoffs started. I said it was going to be Minnesota versus Boston in the finals. I have Minnesota winning. I just think 1-5, that defense is nasty, and Anthony Edwards is the guy that I can trust every single night at this point in time. But, I think for me, the Chicago Bulls are in a situation to where you gotta figure it out. You fucked around and you found out. Now we have to just put all our cards on the table again, no pun intended. And you just gotta accept your mistakes. Accept your mistakes. Grab some draft capital. Make sure you put yourselves in the best position to have success. Because here's my thing. I think at the end of the day, we talk about it all the time. And continuity is a great thing. You know what I mean? Hey, you got a girlfriend. You got great friends. That's great. You know what I mean? You got the same people in the same circle all the time. And for guys like me, that would be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, that is exactly where you want to be in life. You want the people you love around you. Here's the problem. If you're the Chicago Bulls and you're a fucking ownership in the NBA, yeah, I don't care if we get the same roster every single year. I don't care if they know each other really well. I don't care if they love each other. They fucking suck. That's what it is at the end of the day. This team isn't great. This team is not good. And the biggest problem for me and what I'm trying to figure out is what we can do right now to be able to put ourselves in the best position to have success and win. Because I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of being in this place right now to where it's like, man, another rebuild. I'm going to be 30 before the Bulls really contend. Now, I'm about to be 24, so I'm not even close to 30. I'm just saying history's past has told me that we are not going to be good for a long time. Sometimes you just have to bite that bullet, though. Sometimes you just have to do what's best for the organization. Now, is Arturas and Mark Eversley best for this organization? I have no idea. Really, I mean, they listen, all credit to them, because when they were healthy, they were a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference. Now, that was 2-3 years ago. Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, you trade for Nikola Vucevic, you have Zach, you have Kobe, Io, and company. You did great. You did great assembling that squad. Patrick Williams, sure, whatever. But that squad isn't that squad anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Lonzo Ball, I mean, let's be real. Lonzo Ball just exercised his right to have over $20 million coming his way in the final year of his contract in 2024 with the Chicago Bulls. And we still don't know if he's going to play. He says he is. He says he's feeling great. He says he's feeling 100%. But we thought that towards the end of last season and the year before that. So I really, show me. Show me is the only answer to that. We see him jogging around, basketball activity, cool. But until I see him on 5-on-5 action, full court, full press, like, I can't put my cards in that deck. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see if he could potentially get back on the court, especially with the arrival of Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. The boys are doing it right now, man. Kobe was snubbed for most improved player. I don't know how Tyrese Maxey wins most improved player when he goes from 20 points per game in 2023 to 25 points per game in 2024. Kobe went from 9 points in 2023 a game to 19. My brother in Christ, he fucking doubled it. Like, what are we? I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. He doubled his numbers. I mean, he's shooting the lights out the ball, shooting over 40% from three. I don't know how he doesn't win. I mean, obviously, we understand, the Philadelphia 76ers are a more popular team, so Maxey gets more love. But Kobe White has fucking arrived, and I'm hoping he's a part of the next regime. I hope they don't end up moving him. But, an interesting conversation is the Miami Heat are interested in entertaining talks for Jimmy Butler. Now, we've heard there could be a potential reunion in Philly, and I know my guy Germ would love that. I would love that because I never thought Butler should have left. I thought him and Embiid definitely could have won a championship together by now had they stayed together, or Embiid going to Miami, vice versa, whatever it may be. Whatever you got to do to make that happen, make it happen. If you got to trade Bam, trade Bam. But if Jimmy Butler is potentially on the market, could the Chicago Bulls have a reunion? You trade Zach LaVine to the Miami Heat to pair him up with Tyler Hero and company. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. Hey, Zach LaVine, it's not a bad squad. It's not a bad squad at all. And then Jimmy Butler comes back to where it all started. You have young guns now in Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. Maybe you bring back DeMar DeRozan. You still got guys like Torrey Craig, Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic. I think it would be solid. I know a lot of people are going to hate that. I know someone will probably clip this and make it a reel, and fucking million people will hate on me in the comments for it. But if the Chicago Bulls could find a way to bring back Jimmy Butler, I definitely would. And for anybody telling me right now, oh, that couldn't happen, Jimmy wouldn't go back to the Bulls the way they treated him. So then why are we entertaining him going back to the 76ers when they chose Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons and Mike Brown over him? Come on, bro. Like, let's be consistent. Let's be consistent here. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited. But there's a lot of things that can happen. I don't really know what the market looks like for Zach LaVine right now. I don't know if that's going to be this summer. I don't know if that'll be towards the trade deadline of next season. I'm hoping it's like immediately. I'm hoping we find all this stuff out, whether Debo's staying, what we're gonna do with Vooch, what we're gonna do with Zach. Patrick Williams is a free agent. There's a lot of different ways it can go, but I'm hoping we figure it out sooner rather than later because I hate just dragging it out. Dragged it out all 2023. I've been writing articles, Chicago State of Mind, all these different places. And I got tired of writing bullshit, just literally bullshit, no pun intended, just because it was the same stuff over and over again. But before I get out of here, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for sticking with me. It's been a rough couple of days. Mentally, I've just been exhausted. And, we got some Sky preseason coming up. We're going to be there at Wintrust Arena, reporting live with Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Dana Evans, and company. It's going to be a blast against Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, and the New York Liberty. Gonna be fun, gonna be exciting. We're gonna have pre and post game interviews on the floor for the Chicago Sky. Make sure you check us out on Give Us a Shot Network and the ASAP Network to be able to acquire all of those videos that I'm doing 24/7. It's gonna be a lot of fun to break down what we're doing right now, man. This is a new era of Chicago Sky basketball, and it's gonna be an absolute blast. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody being here. I am Mike Hughes, aka the Shy Kid, and you are listening to the Shy Kid podcast. Make sure you hit that follow button on Give Us a Shot Network on our bio up top or below, wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. Appreciate you guys always being here. Check out the channel. If you want to check out me personally, you can check me out on Instagram and on TikTok at theshy.kid. Until then, we are in there like swimwear. Go Cubs, baby. Welcome back, Justin Steele.